Hi, I know it's been a while, but welcome back. I just wanted to make a very quick video because I've been hearing about all this nonsense when it comes to inflation, the global disease that's been sweeping the world and new variants and possibly new diseases. And now there's been a lot of talk about this Russia v. Ukraine crisis. Now, I've been deliberately trying to ignore anything to do with the Ukraine crisis because honestly, I feel like Russia's trying to invade one part of the former USSR every few years. If you recall, in 2008, they were trying to get Georgia back, and that didn't work. And now, America and Britain, if Russia were to invade Ukraine, and if there was a little battle there, I know that America and Britain would be siding with Ukraine just to, annoy Russia. And then other people would join Russia, and other people would join Ukraine, and it would be a whole mess. Now, for decades, we all know that these politicians, they love making money from war and everything, and they love making money from, incurring battles. But nobody's wanted a world war because that would cost too much and that would cost too many lives. Not just too much money, but too many lives. But I personally feel that, this generation of human beings, especially millennials and Generation Z, I would be curious to see how society will change for anybody under 30 if we were actually pushed into World War III. Let's pretend that this Ukraine and Russia thing is actually going to escalate to the point where it's going to be a multinational war, and then Asian countries are going to get involved. Let's presume China is on Russia's side, or maybe not, and let's say some African countries will join, America and Britain and Ukraine for whatever reason, and maybe Australia joins Britain, that joins Ukraine, whatever. Let's say we have World War III, and a bunch of countries join each side. What would change, and how would it change, and how would it, you know, perhaps change people's perspectives of life, of comfort? Because let's face it, we all know that, millennials and especially Generation Z, in this peacetime uh, in this peacetime era that we're in, we are very comfortable. We've got almost everything at our fingertips. We've got Google, social media, including YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, Snapchat, all of that. People have dating apps. You've got all these men molesting themselves while watching OnlyFans or, certain naughty sites. You've got women going on OnlyFans, becoming starlets on certain naughty sites. In a lot of ways, coming from any remotely conservative or religious perspective, the world has gone, like, the world has turned to poop. Like, I'm not going to swear on YouTube, but the world has turned to poop in terms of morals, in terms of relationships, dating, money, finances. We're sort of in this weird space where we're not in a recession, but we're about to be in a recession. The media is hyping up this hysteria regarding not just inflation increases, but also the rise in gas and oil and electricity, energy in general. The media have gone from scaring you to death over the global disease. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say the P word. The global disease that's been sweeping our world for the past few years. They've gone from scaring you to death about that to scaring you to death about the energy crisis and inflation, and how the money in your pocket has less buying power than it did yesterday and 10 years ago and 20 years ago, which I guess is technically true. But of course, the media will exaggerate it just to make you so scared and unfocused unfocused and distracted, because if you're unfocused and distracted, you're going to be easier to control and manipulate, which is what the media want, it's what the establishment want, it's what these politicians want. Because if you're easier to manipulate, it's going to be easy for them to convince you to vote for them and to do what they want you to do. And when they come up with these new laws, it's going to be easier for you to believe in their nonsense because you're so scared and so distracted and so easy to manipulate, or just follow whatever the hell they're saying. That's why we've all been wearing masks for 2 years, and now you've got these reputable articles such as New York Times talking about, the cloth masks are not as effective as other masks. Now, I'm not too sure if it's New York Times, it could have been another paper, but it's one of these reputable papers that had said that even though we've all been wearing cloth masks and other masks for 2 years now, so it sort of seems semi redundant. You've still got people wearing cloth masks on TFL transport in London because Sadiq Khan thinks that that's a huge priority. But I would be very curious to see how men would react if they were thrust upon a world war, if they had to be forced into uncomfortable situations in which they would have to become tougher human beings. No comfort, no PORN, no junk food. They don't get to sleep when they want to. They don't get to eat when they want to. They don't get to dance and move around the way they want to. They have to follow orders from generals, lieutenants, commanders, all that stuff. And they might actually have to kill somebody because they're in a war. I would be fascinated if I would have to end up fighting in a war with some buddies, some of whom I'm sure would do well under tough situations, be good leaders, and others would buckle under pressure. I feel like I would be right in the middle. I wouldn't be the best, I wouldn't be the worst. Maybe I'll prove some people wrong, maybe I'll surprise myself, but I don't think I'm going to be some natural born wartime leader. No. I definitely feel that if this Ukraine thing escalates to the point where we would actually have a world war, some sort of Western versus Soviet thing, I'm not lying to anybody. I'll be crying a few times. I'll feel like that I'll be constantly, pushed outside my comfort zone, and it wouldn't be an easy time for me. But other people, they're not even aware of their weaknesses. They're not even aware of their flaws or how soft they might be. It might be an unwelcoming wake up call for them. Just imagine all these idiots on TikTok twerking, eating Tide Pods, doing stupid stuff. 2/3 of American millennials, according to some articles that I found and some YouTube videos I found, 2/3 of millennials living in America don't know what the Holocaust is. They don't know about Auschwitz. They don't know about the millions of people that died, Jewish people, blacks, gypsies, twins, etc., etc., etc. No, 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 no. No, they don't know about any of it. There's all these Generation Z people that would go to the memorial in Auschwitz with where the pillars are. They'll sit on the pillars and take photos like it's a vacation. People died there. A genocide happened there. They don't even know. They do all these TikTok trends where they're out here putting makeup on them to look like people that died in the Holocaust. They don't even know what it is. They don't even know what it is, and they're just doing it for likes and views. They don't even know what they're doing or what they're trying to replicate. I don't know how that happened. I thought the whole point of the world wars and all the stuff that happened was lest we forget. We should never forget. But people have forgotten. I mean, I'm in my mid to late 20s. When I was in school, we were all told about the Holocaust and Hitler and everything that happened. But these Americans, these young guns, maybe they should be my age or a little younger, they don't know anything. That's worrying. That's horrifying. Because if they don't know what it is, it's going to be more likely that it'll happen again. It can happen to an ethnic minority. It can happen to white people because, millennials and Generation Z, they're more left-leaning than ever before. And they think that white people are the cause and problem for everything, which isn't true. What if something happens to them? But hey, realistically, it might just be another ethnic minority. You've seen black people getting killed in America, being treated unjustly in Britain. You've seen all these people of Asian heritage facing racism, especially because of the disease, the global disease. People got super racist, blamed all Asians, even though it's not their fault. Do you understand? Life has turned to poop. The world is a joke. The world has turned to poop. So I would not want a World War III for obvious reasons, but if it were to come to pass, if it was going to happen, I would be fascinated to see how the majority of the people that I know, including and especially men, would be able to handle themselves in that situation. Would they face the pressure? Would they, toughen up, or would they buckle under pressure and get, and die inside before they get killed in real life? I don't know. that's just something I wanted to talk about, to get off my chest. Obviously, a lot has happened in the last few years, and there's just so much to talk about, but it's very difficult to express because you have to think about what's going on, you have to think about how you're going to react to it, and more importantly, you're going to think about how bad it's going to get. Like, we know that there's going to be an economic recession, and we know that there's escalation between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and we know that there's always going to be some sort of conflict happening in another part of the world that will radiate back down to us and, at some point affect our lives here as well. On that note, thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Goodbye.